Welcome, friends,
to the How-To Heretic.
I'm Uncle Mark.
And I'm Uncle Dan.
And I'm Uncle Doug.
And this is your user's guide to life on the outside.
That's right. Leaving religion is the first step into a larger, better world.
But it can also be a scary world. Things work differently now.
Never fear. That's why we're here.
We're your audio uncles. And with help from good friends and experts in all sorts of fields,
we're going to share the stories and seek the knowledge to build a great life.
After all, you only get one that we know of, so you better make the most of it.
Uncle Friends.
Hello.
That's
Here we are.
We should have a show called Uncle Friends.
Uncle Friends. Yeah, I don't know. That just sounds like something that is often said in a court of law.
I think if you translate the show into Chinese, that's what it comes out to.
Uncle Friends Animal Time. So, what a show. 86.
Yeah.
We've made it this far. I guess we'll just keep going.
Yeah, why not?
Dan, you've got a very special How-To Heretic for us today.
Well, it's one of those things where it's like, is it a cult? Is it a team? We don't know. It's impossible to tell.
It's our new format. It's Sport Talk.
That's right. We've gone to ESPN. So
you can't find three guys who know more about the team to root for.
That's right. Boy, howdy.
The home sports concern.
We'll be doing stats and box scores and other sports terms
for the Capital City varsity team. And then, Doug, you are going to talk about something we're equally qualified to talk about, I understand.
It's exactly right. I'm going to talk about the reason for the season, but it's something that's not as terrible as it could be. So that's nice.
Which is rare. Not a high recommendation, but okay.
Right.
Well, I will I will round that out by talking about something that is far more terrible than you even thought it could ever be, and we're going to talk about wheels and how they work. So, without further ado, episode 86. Let's make this happen.
Cha-cha!
Hello. Is anyone there, Uncle Doug?
Hello.
Oh, good. You're there.
I got you 5x5.
Copy that, Whiskey Tango Charlie.
Did you call me white trash?
I waved off by Charlie.
Okay.
I don't know what WTC is, but anyway, that's not the point. The point is the real estate market is hot, right? The real estate is hot. As we've seen over the past decade, it always goes up. It never goes down.
Never.
And I'm looking for hot tips.
Bitcoin.
Right? Bitcoin, and I'm going to buy it with Bitcoin. And I just wonder if Uncle Dan, you have any kind of home buying tips for us, or a hot lead on a house.
I wouldn't be surprised. I'm that kind of a fella. There is a house I've sort of been eyeballing myself. It's in Michigan.
Yeah,
and it might be just right for you.
Okay,
we're talking about the house of David. We'll call it just the House of David, although there's more to it. Well, okay, so look. We on this show have looked at a lot of oddball religious cults.
Sure.
And I got to say, certain themes do seem to pop up over and over again. It's getting a little predictable, frankly.
Yeah.
And that threatens to be boring. What saves us, though, is that there's almost always at least one aspect of each of these that sets them apart. And while we'll certainly hear some familiar tropes as we discuss the House of David, a.k.a. the Israelite House of David, and Mary's City of David, they definitely have some unique stuff, too. Hint.
Oh, good.
Hint. Sports!
Sports.
So, that's right. For those of you listeners who, unlike your faithful uncles, enjoy the sport, this one's for you.
However, we don't cover enough sport on this show.
Well, there's very little to cover. I mean, there's the occasional, I don't know, throwing of ossifrages or something.
Yeah.
But
I mean, we always cover the big moments in cricket. But,
That's right.
But it's funny how often we forget to hit record when we do those. We've got to remember.
So funny, yeah. We had that whole caber toss episode. That was fun.
Yeah, it was amazing.
Anyway, our story begins in the late 1800s with Benjamin and Mary Purnell, who were itinerant preachers / broom salespeople, launched from...
Broom?
Yes, brooms.
Okay, good. Copy that. So the sport is Quidditch.
That's right. That's right. They launched from Paducah, Kentucky, but traveled all around, the Midwest and beyond. Their traveling did slow when they joined a religious commune in Detroit and heeded the words of that group's leader, Prince Mike, the self-proclaimed seventh messenger from Revelation.
Oh.
He didn't
Interesting.
change his name from Mike?
No, why would you?
It's
a good name.
It's like the what was that wizard from the Monty Python and the Holy Grail? His name was Tim.
Also,
Right.
Michael is actually a biblical name. Like, he just had to unshorten his own name. But
Exactly.
whatever.
Yeah, well,
Suit yourself, Mike.
Anyway, Prince Mike, listen, our Benjamin, though, was an ambitious fella. And self-declared positions are vulnerable. So not one to sit around and just listen to some other guy be God's final messenger on earth. Benji interrupted a service one Sunday and declared that he was the real seventh messenger and, quote, "Fire and brimstone await those who doubt me."
Oh.
That didn't go over so well.
So it's called upping the ante.
Yeah, and he and Mary were kicked out of the commune. But once you declare yourself the seventh messenger, you might as well run with it, I suppose. So Ben and Mary spent the next few years sorting out their theology and started touring around the Midwest looking for faithful people to join their new and 100% absolutely true religion.
Yeah.
So they settled for many years in Fostoria, Ohio, having 2 children and super creeping out their neighbors. Their final straw being, and this seems to be the one that brought out the pitchforks and torches, was when the Purnells took a unique approach to their 17-year-old daughter's accidental death at a fireworks factory. That's true.
Oh my God.
And then
America was more amazing back then, wasn't it?
they skipped out on her funeral. Which was enough. Apparently, they had some belief about not dealing with the dead.
Huh.
So this was the final straw. They basically were run out of town on a rail. And so, look, I'm not one to judge how someone grieves, but apparently, 20th century turn of the 20th century Ohioans are
Right.
willing to judge how someone.
Well,
grieves.
we got a sense of that attitude when we were in Cincinnati, don't you think?
Oh, very much so. You definitely get you have to go to the funeral vibe.
Yeah, they're a very grief policing people.
So they went a couple hundred miles west to Benton Harbor, Michigan. Now, if Joseph Smith was the king of harnessing Americans' fascination with Native American origins and treasures to amass followers, Benjamin Purnell was apparently the master of direct mail advertising for his thing. He sent out pamphlets and managed to get a pretty strong following. I mean, a few hundred anyway. Now, the big coup came, as they so often do, when he brought in some credulous, wealthy businessmen to serve, or who were in search themselves of a messiah. Lewis,
So he found himself in Oliver Cowdery, is what you're saying.
That's right. Yep. Yeah. Lewis and Albert Boschke joined up around 1902 and agreed to give Benji over $400,000.
Oh my God.
Roughly $10 million in today's money.
What? Oh my God.
Yeah. So from there, it was on. They built a huge commune on thousands of acres of land.
Wow.
And were able to attract probably thousands of followers, which is a testament to how shockingly easy it is to convince some folks that you're Jesus's brother. Oh, yeah, he's Jesus's brother now and the Messiah when you're well-funded.
Right.
So,
Right.
I say shocking in part because joining the Israelite House of David has some pretty rough requirements. First, you had to give up all your earthly possessions and turn them into the collective.
Well, that's classic stuff. That's classic.
Right, yeah. Presumably that's easier for the poor people, and usually that's who you're going to be getting a lot of when you start your cult.
It's a volume business, exactly.
Yeah, you had to commit to a vegetarian diet and no alcohol or tobacco. So that that's
Classic.
that's a lot. But yeah, we not unheard of in this time.
Yeah.
Men, now this is a big one. We'll keep coming back to this one. Men were not allowed to cut their hair or shave their beards.
Oh, boy.
A lawyer for the group said that old Benji had sorted out a good scientific reason why the Old Testament had rules about not shaving, which were, he said, members wear their hair and beards long because they believe they can absorb electricity from the air with their long hair.
Wow, that's not where I thought that was going.
And the electricity is just as important as food. So, science.
That's why Samson was so strong, right?
Yeah,
Is
exactly.
the electrical current.
Yeah, he's like Thor.
Exactly.
He was like a walking taser.
And then there was the House of David view on sex. Anybody want to take a guess?
Didn't like it.
Okay, Doug says against.
I have a feeling that they were for it.
Okay, Mark says for. 100% not allowed ever.
Wow.
At all.
Oh.
No sex. It is verboten with one giant caveat that I'll bet you can guess, but we'll get to it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Married couples could only join if they redefined their relationship as brother and sister.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Ooh.
So no sex was allowed. Now,
Well, in the Midwest, that probably wasn't such complicated paperwork to do, right?
mind you, they were
Goodbye,
going to
Midwestern listeners.
Yeah, I know. Bye, everybody. Yeah, exactly.
We're from Utah. We can throw those kind of stones, assholes.
Exactly. We have all the room in the world to criticize everybody's state. Anyway,
Yes.
now, mind you, they weren't going to leave you hanging after giving up all of this stuff. There was a pretty big payoff for all these skinny, sober virgins. Eternal life. And not just the standard after resurrection type eternal life. Faithful House of David members got to do this life here on earth forever. So,
I think I might detect a little flaw in the plan here.
Well, shut
But
your
I'll- but go
fucking
on,
mouth.
go on.
How about that? I'll
go on.
detect you being quiet. That's what I'll
All right.
detect.
All right.
So they built their compound, and it was impressive. It turns out that when you harness the raw power of sexual frustration, a lot can happen. They had grain farms and dozens of orchards. They had a cannery, a carpenter shop, coach factory, a tailor shop, a steam laundry. They owned and operated their own electricity plant.
Was it hair? Was it hair based?
It was all of this was hair based.
It was a hair-burning plant.
They wanted to build big mansions, so they even made like their own brick or concrete brick making factory there.
Wow.
This is Mormon. This is like Mormon level ambition, right? Early Mormon level ambition.
Oh my God! Well, and they took it to a really fun place. What they realized was a commune of hairy weirdos had a certain attraction to tourists, and that could mean money.
Sure.
So they quickly got a zoo going and an amusement park. You could go and you'd pay a ticket, and they'd train you in on these little miniature trains. Coal-powered trains would take you into the amusement park.
What a great way to start your day, sitting behind a coal burning chimney.
Who doesn't love it? Put on your Sunday best, go in white, and come out
Get covered in soot.
soot covered. That's right.
So this is like the teens, like the
Early 20th
Wow.
century, 20
Crazy.
teens. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then they did what's so of course they needed entertainments. They formed bands that got so good that they toured the country. And then they did what so many young men have done when trying not to think about sex. They
Baseball.
went to baseball. And boy, howdy did they go to baseball. They formed a number of teams, multiple teams of baseball players. And because they were channeling a lot of extra energy, they got good.
Really?
And we're not
So that
talking...
was like it's like that baseball game in Twilight, right? They're really good. No, nobody saw that. Okay, go on, Dan.
Okay, we'll take your word for it there, Mark.
Maybe I just dreamed that.
Did you say Twilight like the vampire movie?
Yeah, they play baseball. They play
Okay.
baseball.
But
I'm not
but
kidding.
You watched that
Uncle
movie?
Mark just gave us a very Interesting tidbit of information.
Dark
Fuck you guys.
view into
Fuck you guys.
Uncle
I'm
Mark's
Googling
soul.
Googling
I believe,
it right now.
Okay, well, I think we've known for a long time that Uncle Mark's actually a middle-aged woman, but that's okay.
I'm Team Joseph. Is that one of the guys?
No, it's not.
Oh, there it is on
Anyway.
YouTube. Twilight baseball scene.
Great.
Check
Great.
and mate.
So
anyway,
guys,
what are you talking about?
So people go ahead and Google that if you want to imagine this. Anyway, what you should be imagining is hipster-looking guys with really long hair. We're talking down to the middle of their back hair, big bushy beards, playing excellent baseball and doing like crazy. Like they started to do. There's this thing in baseball called pepper, which is about sort of a bunch of people standing about 20 feet away from a batter, and the batter just keeps hitting ground balls, and whoever catches it throws it back to the batter. And anyway, they started doing pepper tricks, and they were the Harlem Globetrotters of baseball.
Really?
And they would tour the country barnstorming. And what's
Weird.
really interesting about this is that they would put on these exhibition baseball games, and they would play the local, the local exhibition teams, and they would beat everybody. Sometimes they would play exhibition games against major league teams and do very, very well. They wouldn't necessarily win, but they would do very well. But none of them could play for the majors because of the beards and their hair, because the major leagues at that time were required to have clean-shaven faces and short hair.
Right.
So
And
these
be
guys,
white. And be white. Let's
and be white. Well, interesting that you should say that, because what that ended up meaning was that these guys toured around with Negro League teams. So they would
Really?
Yeah, so like they would tour around, and they apparently, one of the stories that I read was that they would go into a town that was very excited for the House of David baseball team to come into their town. And they had a big baseball stadium, and they were ready to have these exhibition games played. And the guys would go in the morning, and they would go in with the manager of the team, and this big sort of boxer-sized guy would walk into the manager's office and say, okay, here's the thing. House of David's going to play the first exhibition game. And then guess who's going to play the second one? Our Negro League friends. And you don't have anything to say about that. And they would be like, no, we've never allowed a Negro League team into our stadium before. We won't allow it. And they will throw a fit. But the House of David guys would just be like, okay, well, we have another game lined up down the road, so we'll just go over to there instead.
No kidding.
And they would pressure them. And they said, not only are you going to let these guys play in your stadium, you're going to let them stay in the hotel that we stay in, and you're going to let them eat at the restaurant that we eat in, and that's going to be that. And they would acquiesce. They would apparently that was just, they were like champions of equality.
That is crazy.
And they
and that's not really part of what we normally read in these cults. Like there are a couple of exceptions, right? The JWs have had a racial equality thing from the beginning,
right?
Whether they've pulled it off or not. And Jim Jones actually was super about racial equality.
Well,
but it's not the norm.
There's something about outsiders sticking together that sometimes just works.
Yeah.
And this worked. These guys played. House of David played in an exhibition tournament in Denver, and their pitcher, because they used to do this, they used to sign people to temporary contracts. Their pitcher for that game was none other than Satchel fucking Paige, one of the greatest pitchers of all time, Negro League guy who then signed into Major League Baseball after Jackie Robinson broke the color barrier as a 42-year-old rookie and played several years. And that guy, he was on a Negro League team called the Kansas City Monarchs. And the Monarchs used to tour with the House of David all the time.
That's crazy.
So he was the one, he pitched for them in this tournament.
Wow.
It's a really interesting thing. Now, I actually really like a lot of things about House of David. I love that they had an amusement park. I think only now are religions catching on to that, and frankly, we went to one of them, and it wasn't very fun.
No, it was pretty fucking sad.
But I love that idea. I love the idea of, like, if you're going to proselytize, at least entertain us. Send around a band, send around a baseball team, whatever. Show us something interesting. Do some tricks
Salvation
for us.
Army had their bands forever, of course.
Right.
The
yeah.
Tabernacle Choir does not qualify.
Doesn't count. I mean,
No,
they sing with the Muppets every now and then. And people
That is
seem to like
scientifically not entertainment. I can prove it with math.
that. There's a graph. There's a chart.
Yeah.
Now it's not the House of David is not without their controversies, of course.
Of course.
And I hinted at it before. You'll be shocked, I say, to learn that a couple things. That Benjamin Purnell was accused of having sex with very, very young girls in his commune. Which who would have seen that coming?
Right.
Again, that's just math. That's
Right.
just
It's
literally
yeah.
going to happen.
You give a guy that much power, and then that's just going to happen.
You're going to have
Yeah.
some of that. I mean, you know.
And it seems, and this is the other really, really shocking thing, they all seem to have died. All of these people who were promised eternal life, including Benjamin and Mary Purnell herself, they've all died. Now, I say all. I am lying because, Mary Purnell actually broke off after her husband's death from the House of David to form Mary's City of David right across the street. And they've been sort of neighbors ever since. And there are still, I think, 2 members of one of the groups and 3 members of it, or 4 members
No
of
kidding.
the other group still alive. There are
the
rumors.
the original group.
No.
Ish.
I mean, they had to keep getting converts because nobody was allowed to have
Yeah,
sex.
right. Exactly. Okay.
So these were people who joined up, I think, in the 70s or whatever. But yeah, there are rumors now of tunnels under the things with gold, and money and all kinds of stuff. Who knows what any of it is? They wouldn't check it out because they were worried about booby traps. But who knows?
You know what their booby trap would be is a pitching machine. It would just be one of those
Just
baseball things shooting at you.
chucking baseballs
Right in the groin.
Yeah,
Boing.
yeah. Get your pepper ready. But there you go, the House of David. I just thought that the sports angle was interesting.
It is, and it's like the plot of. It's like 2/3 of the plot of several different movies.
Yes, indeed. Someone needs to make a movie about House of David.
crazy.
But I also highly encourage you guys to Google House of David and do an image search, because there's nothing more interesting than seeing a bunch of guys in old-timey baseball uniforms with the longest hair and beards you've ever seen in your life.
And before you do that, Google Twilight baseball scene because it's real. And I'm not lying. These guys are fucking lying about it.
Oh, I believe that it exists.
Yes, we're much more upset about the fact that you know about it than we are about its actual existence.
I said, let's move on.
So yes, there you go, House of David, moving along. Mark,
Well, howdy.
we live and walk upon this earth, and while it's made mostly just of like rocks and then underneath that molten rocks and goo and whatever,
An oil.
and lots of things, lots of goop and stuff.
It's a goopy planet with a hard crust. If you think about it,
It is.
don't think too much about it. You'll lose a lot of sleep because it's pretty weird.
And exactly. And if you think too much about it, you might think it's flat or something, and then you're in trouble.
It's a
Don't do that.
Cadbury egg, but if the middle of the Cadbury egg is like 4,000 degrees, so yeah.
Exactly. That's what it is. But some people like to personify it, and
Sure. Indeed.
say that it's more than just a bunch of rocks. And I think one of those people is Uncle Doug.
It is indeed me. Well, fellow uncles.
I didn't see you there.
Hello. Behind you.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's because you're not in the same country.
Lo, I come from behind.
Jesus.
I don't know what that means, but
Almost every time.
it sounds dirty.
Well,
I am in Canada, where that statement is actually a Class B misdemeanor. So
well, it turns out that we
1-800-Mountie right now.
It turns out that we're recording today on Mother's Day. So happy Mother's
Yeah.
Day to any listeners out there who qualify.
Even though we're late to getting it to you. But
Even though it's going to be coming out after the fact,
Yeah.
the love is in real time.
You got 364 shopping days till the next one. We'll just
right.
let you know that.
That's right.
So I thought we'd spend a little time talking about the mother whose house we all still refuse to move out of, Mother Earth. Now, before we get into the meat of the discussion, we need to give a nod to the original Greek primordial mother goddess, the goddess of the earth, Gaia, or her Roman equivalent, Terra. She is often depicted as a very voluptuous, bare-chested woman. On a personal note, she was very likely the source of Uncle Doug's first erection, followed immediately by terror and shame that would prevent another one for over half a decade. Just very
Wait a
quick.
minute. Were you looking at the Earth and you got a little boner?
Yeah. So in the third grade, my teacher was Mrs. Mackenzie. Mark, you had her as well, I believe.
If you say so. It's a long time ago.
Yeah, I can say her name because I can pretty much guarantee she's no longer with us. She had this fantastic, beautiful coffee table book of the planets with their Greek and Roman gods depicted, and then all the scientific knowledge we had at the time, which, if you remember, had just been vastly expanded by the flights of Voyager 1 and 2, which took place a year before. And this book had all of that in it. It was a really cool book. So anyway, one day, another boy in my class, let's call him Brian, and I came in a couple minutes early from recess. No one else was around, and we knew that on the first page of the Earth section of the book, it indeed featured a topless goddess that Mrs. Mackenzie would not let us look at. So we snuck over to the book and opened it up to that section. And just a few seconds later, I noticed behind Brian was Mrs. Mackenzie standing in the doorway looking at us. So I tried to shut the book, but Brian kept trying to open it back up. And what he said has stuck with me ever since because of its raw carnality and perfect sexual ignorance. He said as we were struggling over the book, let me get my humpers.
What?
What?
I don't know what that means, but I've never forgotten it.
Let me get my uppers.
And that's it for today's show. I don't want any more show. I want to leave it on that note.
How old were you?
We were third grade, so it was like, what was that, 7 or 8?
I don't know.
8 years old, things.
And that's been Doug's pickup line ever since.
You never told me that. I love the humpers.
If anyone ever leans into you and quietly whispers in your ear, let me get my humpers, you'll know Uncle Doug is nearby.
Say that 3 times into a mirror. Okay. Anywho.
And Brian appears.
The Greek goddess Gaia was the immediate parent to Uranus, which I'm sure everyone has a funny story about.
I'm already struggling. I'm just having the giggles that you have to say Uranus. Okay. Planets. Let's do this.
Gaia then turned around and banged Uranus. Pause for applause. This creating the Titans, who ended up creating the Olympian gods. But we're not here today to talk about stupid ancient mythology when there's so much stupid new mythology to talk about.
Hooray!
Sure.
Today, in honor of Mother's Day, I want to talk about the current iteration of Mother Earth worship, Gaianism. So, according to Gaianism, it is an earth-centered philosophical, spiritual, and holistic belief system stemming directly from the Gaia hypothesis by UK chemist, a guy named James Lovelock.
Oh, good science.
Well,
thank God we're going to be saved, everybody, by science.
There's enough science, Susan, to give it some kind of a patina of reality. So basically, the Gaia hypothesis claims that the organisms living on the Earth and the Earth itself have over time acted like a single self-regulating system. Mm-hmm. So there are some very interesting scientific, or at least scientific-ish, ideas wrapped up in what is generally rejected as a wooish teleological, boy, I'm losing that one, idea.
Yeah.
For example, as carbon dioxide levels rise in the atmosphere, plants are able to grow faster and better and capture that carbon dioxide, replacing it with oxygen, which animals then replace with carbon dioxide, and so on. So in this view, there is a nearly conscious process of homeostasis going on. Some, of course, believe that there is a fully conscious process of homeostasis, and they spend their afternoons trying to communicate with this consciousness.
Right.
However, the scientific view is more complicated and far less harmonic. According to biologists and evolutionary scientists, as each individual species pursues its own self-interest, their combined actions tend to have a counterbalancing effect on the environment. So there's not a conscious thought process or a consciousness going on. It's just kind of how the cycle balances itself over time. So while it appears in the short term that there is balance, The long-term trend of life on Earth is towards imbalance and extinction, which it appears we are determined to demonstrate in the next couple of decades.
Yeah, totally. I think the fact that we are literally killing the fucking Earth and everything on it proves that it's a godlike perfect balance, right?
There is a consciousness at work. It is us.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know.
And it's not very conscious.
And we're not acting very consciously.
Yeah. So it's tempting to look at things like the predator-prey cycles or satellite images of the seasons changing on Earth, giving it the appearance of breathing, and see some balancing force at work. But ironically, this is the same myopic view where climate deniers find shade. So unsurprisingly, a movement based on an unscientific foundation is going to have unscientific tenets. And while Gaianism is pretty decentralized, there are no scriptures, there's no clergy, there are some common beliefs. For example, Gaians believe that the various spheres of the Earth work to regulate and balance the world.
They did have that terrible schism, right? They did a really brutal schism. So,
what are they talking about when they say the spheres of the Earth?
The spheres are it's the biosphere, the lithosphere, the hydrosphere, and the atmosphere.
Oh, okay.
The lithosphere is the crust, and so these all work together to balance things out, right?
I think they're called the wheels. They're in Ezekiel.
That's right.
we're going to talk about wheels.
Now, the thing is, this is a pretty benign belief system, mostly centered on dedicated environmentalism and respect for living organisms. We've talked about on this show often about the idea of taking what is bad out of religion and leaving what is good, or vice versa, and Gaianism largely succeeds in this. Love for your fellow humans, respect for your fellow living organisms, and bearing responsibility for the environment can be found to one degree or another in every one of the world's religions. However, in Gaianism, you don't have to weave your way through regulations on the proper feeding of slaves, how exactly to kill homosexuals, and precisely how far away from your house must a woman menstruate.
Right.
So, generally speaking, I don't have a lot of negative things to say about Gaianism. We all should be more mindful of our Earth, the impact we have on it, and what we're leaving for the next generation. But, of course, there are always going to be assholes in every tent, and even Gaianism has them. So the Gaia Liberation Front, the Earth Liberation Front, and, of course, the People's Front of Judea are examples of that.
Right.
But as seemingly benign as Gaianism is, and it's hard to argue that it is anything but in the face of militant Islam and whatever the fuck modern evangelical Christianity is turning into.
Right.
We're looking at you, Georgia. Gaianism can be often a gateway to woo. And once you start down that road...
How?
Wait.
That seems impossible.
I think if you're a Gaiist, you are already solidly past the gate of woo.
Yes.
Right? I mean...
Yes,
yeah.
you've been in and shopped the gift shop plenty.
Well, it's funny because Gaianism is very prominent and popular in environmental circles. So your Sierra Clubs and your Greenpeaces, right?
Sure. Totally makes sense.
And a lot of people find their way to those organizations through scientifically based climate science, and then they kind of slip into Gaianism, and before you know it, they've got crystals and whatever other various and sundry woos.
Sure.
That mostly...
And then before you know it, you're standing face to face with Gwyneth Paltrow, who was there the whole time waiting for you.
Exactly.
Right.
Just whispering to you, let me get my umpers.
I was going to say with the earth up her vagina.
Yes.
And then, Gaianism is also intertwined in many cases with paganism, heathenry, and various other things, mostly designed to separate fools from their money, but at worst can lead to things like white nationalism and anti-Semitism. So,
really?
Yeah. It like new heathenism. Which,
What?
I know, right? It always ends with anti-Semitism.
It's always the Jews, even. Oh, my God. It's always the Jews.
So it doesn't, in and of itself, when you the little bit of research I did on it, it's like, okay, this isn't a bad thing. It's just, let's be good to our Mother Earth. Let's respect it. Let's try and be more responsible for the environment. Great. But then as you dig a little deeper and a little deeper, all of a sudden you find yourself with upside-down crosses and crystals and all that fun, woo at its best. So,
yeah.
Anyway, it's not a lot to say about this stuff.
Yeah, that stuff's very important, though. I don't know why you're being so dismissive.
It's certainly not the most harmful thing we've ever talked about.
Certainly
Until,
not.
of course, they will eventually discover a jade egg lodged in a whale's blowhole. And at that moment, we'll know, right?
Well,
we'll know.
Yeah.
Well, so my recommendation
Something.
is this. On this Mother's Day, listeners, go get stoned and watch Planet Earth 2. Remember to take your reusable bags to the grocery store, donate to the World Wildlife Federation, do all of the things. Just don't fall for bullshit while you're doing it. So there you go.
Oh, that's a nice
Words to live by.
A nice way to end a segment. Happy Mother's Day, everybody. Let's move on then.
Let's move on.
Uncles.
Yes.
As we do this thing, we don't get paid a lot of money.
No.
But what we do get is my favorite kind of money, because it's the kind of money that comes from the generosity and love of our listeners.
Yes.
And that makes it feel extra cute.
My favorite kind of money is gold.
Gold! We literally have prospector Tourette's on the show.
It's not as rare a condition as you think. Yeah.
One in 5 males will suffer from.
That's right.
It's called 49erism.
If we hear the word gold 5 times in a single episode, we'll not be able to get out of that voice.
Yeah.
The rest, we're the uncles. We're coming to teach you things.
We're rich. So give us some of your, and I'm not going to say the word, to help us put on this little pantomime every week.
That's right. The filthy lucre that comes in from you. And so we have some folks to thank. We need to thank Sarah, Ben, John, and Jesse. Thank you guys all so much for becoming new patrons to the show. If anyone else wants to do that, if you've been meaning to, and you're just like, I just never remember how or never remember when, stop everything you're doing right now.
Except listening to Dan.
Except listening to me. Well, stop when I say this, but go to howtoheretic.com. That's easy. You can spell it. I believe in you. And then you just click on the patron
it's the
link
support
there.
us. It's the support us tab.
Link.
Support us.
Okay,
Yeah.
whatever. They'll figure it out. We've got very smart listeners. You just click all of the things until it tells you to give us money.
Yeah.
And then you can just pick however much you want to give, and voila, you are in the pantheon of the greatest people in the world.
And remember, there's no upper limit. So just let's test the boundaries. Let's test what the internet can do as far as money handling. Yeah. Right. So, and once we've broken the system, but just before it goes down completely, go to anywhere you can give us 5 stars. Give 6 if you can. We are so close. I think we're 2 off of 400 5-star reviews, and
that puts us in striking distance of 500.
That's right, and it doesn't seem like much, but for men who don't really have a lot going on in life, it's kind of important. So do it if you can. Make us happy, and we will sing your name in Valhalla once we arrive.
It's true. We will.
So there you go.
Moving on.
Uncle Dan?
Yes, sir.
Do you find yourself with too much free time on your hands?
Yes, and something tells me that if I say yes to that, you're going to try to ruin it.
I am indeed going to try
it's
and
a
ruin
trap.
it.
It's a trap. It's a trap.
I mean, if you ever have enough free time to fill it with absolutely miserable text.
Oh, well, that sounds like a good idea.
I think Uncle Mark has the prescription for you.
Do you have a recommendation, Uncle Mark? Unky Mark?
You bet I do. I got something to fill those idle hours with something it'll just make you mad.
Well, so that sounds delightful.
Yeah, this is what we do for our people, right? Here's how to get pissed off about some dumb thing for no reason at all. So, and what is that thing today, gentle uncles? I want to offer up something wonderful and enlightening for our listeners, but I can't. So I read a book, and I had high hopes for this book. No idea why.
Why would you? That seems very strange.
I barely ever read a book as it is, and I find myself more and more reading ones that I just hate. But the promise of this book was writing checks that the actual book clearly could not cash. And that book is entitled simply Ezekiel, oddly, by an author of the same name. So that's kind of...
You'd think.
A little presumptuous. So, well, not exactly. It wasn't fully written by Ezekiel, as explained helpfully in the footnotes of the New Oxford Annotated Bible. Sorry, Doug. Ezekiel, I quote, Ezekiel wrote his prophecies, and his followers edited, expanded, and preserved them in the 6th century BCE. Right. I like how they tried to slip expanded in there among the other verbs, like we wouldn't notice. So,
well, I love the idea that they basically within that phrasing encompasses the ability to literally leave nothing of the original text behind.
Right. Totally. And who the fuck has a copy of the original text? So anyway,
I mean, I've got one in my basement, but I'm not letting anybody see it.
Yeah, it's a little damp for artifacts of that antiquity.
Yeah,
we've talked about this.
I keep my shit damp.
Put one of those silica gel packets on it. So what is this amazing book? Well, it's one of the Old Testament books attributed to the three major prophets, perhaps the uncles of a weirder, more brutal time, if you will. The other big hitters being Isaiah and Jeremiah. But I'll get mad about having to read those jagoffs another time. Today is for Ezekiel. So, like many of the books of the Bible, this baffling and boring mess has come to mean something it really isn't. Like Daniel that comes after it, it's pretty much about how a feverishly religious mind interprets the rough and bloody geopolitics of the region in a super shitty time to be alive. It has literally no significance for life in the modern world, or even life a few hundred years after its crowdsourced authorship. So
I don't know. The way you just described it makes it sound like it's exactly like the modern world. Like,
well,
all you have to do is find the right prophet, and we're on a roll.
And we're off to the races. So here's what's funny, is what first tickled my interest about Ezekiel in a weird way was a vague memory of a song about Ezekiel seeing a wheel in the sky. I don't know if you've ever heard that. And a vague memory that particular oddity from the story has borne some zany fruit. And indeed it has. But a little bit more on that later. So let's dive into Ezekiel's dementia episode already in progress.
By the
By
the way, Mark, you can tell them now or later that your drag name is Zany Fruit. That's okay.
It is Zany Fruit. Well, that's one of my drag names.
Right.
I have a schizophrenic drag persona. So let's dive into Ezekiel's dementia episode already in progress. Just for those following at home, I'm going to edit out as much filler as possible just to get to the juicy bits in this dreck. And also because this book is insanely repetitive. Oftentimes, the same description appears twice in a row with just one or two words changed. And then it even happens a couple pages later, making it a very hard book to focus on when you're reading. So
I've met people who do that when they tell stories.
A bit repetitive. So here we are. And the hand of Jehovah was upon him. And I looked, and beheld a stormy wind came out of the north, a great cloud with a fire enfolding itself, and a brightness round about it, and out of the midst thereof as it were glowing metal, out of the midst of the fire, and out of the midst thereof came the likeness of 4 living creatures. This was their appearance. They had the likeness of a man, and every one had 4 faces, and every one of them had 4 wings, and their feet were straight feet, and the sole of their feet was like the sole of a calf's foot, and they sparkled like burnished brass, and they had the hands of a man under their wings on their 4 sides, and they 4 had their faces and their wings thus. Their wings were joined one to another. They turned not when they went. They went, I swear this is going somewhere. They went one straight forward. As for the likeness of their faces, they had the face of a man, and they 4 had the face of a lion on the right side, and they 4 had the face of an ox on the left side. And because why not? When you're in for a penny, you're in for a fucking pound.
Please be a duck.
They 4 also had the face of an eagle.
Yes.
Which, as we know, is forbidden to dine on in Leviticus. And their faces and their wings were separate above, and they went one straight forward. Whither the Spirit was to go, they went. They turned not when...
Wait, I'm sorry. I'm trying to picture this thing, but you just told me that their wings were attached, and then you told me that they were separate. You told me that their faces were all attached, but then you told me that they're separate, and I'm not picturing this critter.
I can't believe... how can I make it any simpler? I mean, I'm reading directly from the source.
By the way, if any of our listeners feel like they need to, I encourage somebody to attempt to draw this thing and send it to us.
Good luck with that.
I'm seeing a hybrid of the bad guys in the Chronicles of Riddick and some 10-bit villain from Metroid on Nintendo.
It is so baffling. So, blah, blah, blah. Fire went forth, lightning. Now, as I beheld the living creatures, and this is where we're getting to the heart of the matter here. Behold, one wheel upon the earth beside the living creatures, for each of the 4 faces thereof. The appearance of the wheels and their work was like unto a barrel. like Beryle. And they four had one likeness, and their appearance and their work was as it were a wheel within a wheel. As for their rims, they were high and dreadful, and they four had their rims full of eyes round about. And when the living creatures went, the wheels went beside them. And when the living creatures were lifted up from the earth, the wheels were lifted up. Whithersoever the Spirit was to go, they went. Thither was the Spirit to go, and the wheels were lifted up beside them. Da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. And it goes on and on and on and on. So, the wheels.
Is this the origin of the song? The round like a circle in a spiral, like a wheel within a wheel. Never ending. You guys know that song? No?
What's that from?
About the wheel in the sky keeps on turning.
Yeah.
That's all I can sing.
All of them. That's right.
It's really
we
turned
both had
into
to...
turned into a rock station on a Saturday afternoon. So anyway.
It's the Wheel 97.
Ezekiel 25:63. So, blah, 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 crazy vision. So Ezekiel hadn't eaten in a day or two. Maybe he sat out in the Judean sun a tad too long or forgot to take his Thorazine. But there they are, Ezekiel's wheels. Now,
And that's how this book starts?
that is Ezekiel 1.
Wow.
Yikes.
But there they are, Ezekiel's wheels. Some references say they're the wheels of God's chariot. Some say something else, and we'll get to that. So, like Doug's two-part segment on Revelation in episodes 58 and 60, we can clearly see that the creature designers, as Doug was mentioning before, of ye olden holy lands, thought more wings, more heads, and especially more eyes meant better. But nowadays, we just call that stupid. Now, no when to quit, monster guys. But this is the inciting incident where little old Ezekiel, just a regular kid from Muncie, was singled out by God to yell at the Jews who kept losing his number like the prophets before him and the ones who would come after.
Right.
And that's pretty much what God wants from Ezekiel. Just go everywhere and tell those fuckers how much I'm going to fuck them up because of menstrual blood and lack of circumcision, and that's pretty much it. Mostly that, right? So how much shit talk does God do against the Jews? Well, just from chapters 3, 4, and 5, a mere 86 verses of rambling threats and rage. Then he takes a few verses off before diving back in. Seriously, these fucking...
You got to come up for air sometimes.
Well,
these fucking psychotic rambling threats of genocide and torture are easily 2/3 of Ezekiel.
well, and I mean, God's all talk because he never does anything. I mean, nothing bad ever happened to the Jews, so
No,
that's
great.
clearly a bluff.
Yeah, they're doing fine. So before we dive into more of that, it's snack time.
Yay.
Doug, if you were hanging out watching the seas turn to blood and beasts eating beasts who in turn ate beasts in Revelation land and got a little snacky, what would John of Patmos serve you?
I think he'd serve me up a little book. A moose book.
You're an amuse book. You're exactly right. And so the same loving God offers Ezekiel a little scroll to eat, which he does, and happily reports it tastes like honey.
Okay.
Thus ends the only nice thing God can muster in this nearly 80-page fucking Kevin Spacey from Seven style ransom note.
Wait, so Douglas, did you know that answer? Because there was a book eating bit in Revelation.
Yeah,
wasn't
that's
there?
right.
Is that what you were doing?
That's right.
So I don't.
Let me ask you this, Uncle Mark: are there trumpets somewhere in this story?
If there are, they are only used as instruments with which to kill.
Okay, so it's not. Revelation isn't a total remake of Ezekiel. It just uses a bunch of the source material.
Yeah. It's I read in the I couldn't get lost in the footnotes because I also think it's kind of important to try to read these stories without overburdening them with a lot of context, quote unquote context, because this is the whole issue of the toxicity of them is that the American evangelicals and Southern Baptists don't really, right? So, but they find meaning in them. So you just read it without a lot of that context. Anyway.
But even when they add the context in, a lot of the time they're bending even the context to make it make any kind of sense whatsoever.
Of course.
You can't trust, these biblical scholars who decide that, all of this makes sense if you look at this and this and this. And 90% of the time they are stretching just as much as those who don't know like the ancient Hebrew and don't know the ancient, well, this word can also be used to mean, boat as well as, whatever.
Right. Well, that's presupposing too that context makes everything better.
Right.
Like sometimes context makes it
much worse.
Totally.
Makes it much worse.
Yeah, but they don't go in for that stuff. No. They don't talk about context then.
And just because it is an interesting little nugget of context, according to the New Oxford Annotated Bible, the eating of a text is symbolic of gaining the knowledge, right? So, but it doesn't
what is the honey flavor symbolic of?
It's something Cheerios offers on top of it, just to make your morning a little better, because Ezekiel's about to have some really bad days. So God often tires of saying, I hate you so fucking much, I'm going to fucking kill you all, motherfuckers. I hate you. So he starts creating all these artful little vignettes to ornament his rage and make it palatable for all audiences. I give you, ladies and gentlemen, Ezekiel 4. Thou also, son of man, take thee a tile, and lay it before thee, and portray upon it a city, even Jerusalem, and lay siege against it, and build forts against it. Now he's talking about like a little brick, right? And cast up a mound against it, set camps against it, and plant battering rams against it round about. And take thou unto thee an iron pan, and set it for a wall of iron between thee and the city, and set thy face toward it, and it shall be besieged, and thou shalt lay siege against it. This shall be a sign of the house of Israel. Moreover, lie upon thy left side, and lay the iniquity of the house of Israel upon it, according to the number of the days that's in brackets for some reason, the number of days that thou shalt lie upon it, that thou shalt bear their iniquity. For I have appointed the years of their iniquity to be unto thee a number of days, even 390 days. So thou shalt bear the iniquity of the house of Israel. And again, when thou hast accomplished these, thou shalt lie on thy right side, and shalt bear the iniquity of the house of Judah for 40 days. Each day for a year have I appointed thee, and thou shalt set thy face toward the siege of Jerusalem, with thine arm uncovered, and thou shalt prophesy against it. And behold, I lay bands upon thee, and thou shalt not turn thee from one side to another. So basically he's telling this guy just to lay on his side by a brick little war model he's built.
Yeah, I stopped listening a long time ago, but it sounded to me when I was paying attention, it sounded like basically the Lord was commanding him to do a Lego model of a war while he was lying down on his right side and
for more than a year.
And use a pan as a wall, and he was like, yeah, and this would be cool, and and then these guys come in and then I'm like, yeah.
Is he doing this in the town square of Jerusalem to demonstrate what's coming, or is this?
Well, I don't know. I hope not, because later he commands him to cook these little loaves of bread over human poo.
Oh.
You do.
Like you do. I have given thee cow's dung for man's dung, and thou shalt prepare thy bread thereon. Yeah. And he ordered him that he could only drink the 6th part of a hin of water every day. And I looked that up, and it's 0.67 of a pint. So, you know what? As we've said many times on the show, all the answers, they're right here, guys. Everything you need to know about anything.
My dad used to call me and my sister half pint when we were little, and now I know that it's just a bit of a hin.
Yeah, it's a 6th portion of a hin or whatever. So anyway, let's leave the little weird guy with his Civil War model aside.
Right.
So that was a fun little bit of sketch tragedy. But God is pretty impressed with his creative writing. Quick note, I'm not. And he really loses himself in his fables of genocidal rhyme. He paints an endless stream of Kincaid-like allegories of how shitty and useless the Israelites are, comparing them to vines that are only good for burning, to bad shepherds who fuck everything up and deserve to die, to a man-eating lion that deserves to die, to, and I quote, whores who deserve to die, more on that in a jiff, to a vine again, to a nice ring he throws in a fire, to several metals with low melting temperatures that, yes, he will burn in a fire, to a cedar tree with too high a regard for its beauty that deserves to die, to whores that deserve to die, to wolves who deserve to die, and even to a fine sailing ship, leading to surely the strangest verse in all the Bible, in Ezekiel 27, and I quote, The elders of Gebal and its artisans were within you, caulking your seams. There's
Can caulk my seams any day.
the elders of Gebal, am I right? There's another fine line that I thought you guys would like. The city is the pot and we are the meat. Which is nice.
Jesus.
And funnily enough, there's a weird, almost self-aware, singular moment of comedy in Ezekiel 21:48, where Ezekiel is your Lord's yelling at him again, and Ezekiel says, "Then I said, Ah, Lord, they are saying of me, is he not the maker of allegories?" So, little
That's
self-reflective.
The worst title in Game of Thrones.
Yeah, well, also, yeah, there is that whole moment where somebody goes, "Everybody's calling me a liar. Is that real?"
Yeah, exactly.
Maybe.
So remember when Doug read us History's Weirdest Menu, Leviticus, in episode 9, and at the end of that I said I'd randomly open the good book to a random verse like every Christian movie says that you should, that divinely inspired moral guidepost is in here as well. That is Ezekiel 6:12, and I quote, "Those far off shall die of pestilence, those nearby shall fall by the sword, and any who are left and are spared shall die of famine. Thus I will spend my fury upon them."
And this is God not talking about the enemies of his chosen people, but rather his chosen people themselves.
Yeah.
Cute.
So I can't believe that's not already a Hallmark card. So then we come to the horse stuff, and this is where it starts getting really fucking dark. Like, it was dark before, but it starts getting weirdly demented. So again, the word of Jehovah came unto me, saying, Son of man, cause Jerusalem to know her abominations, and say thus, saith the Lord Jehovah unto Jerusalem, Thy birth and nativity is of the land of the Canaanite. The Amorite was thy father, and thy mother was a Hittite, which is, I think, is in a movie. And as far as thy nativity, in the day that was born, thy navel was not cut, neither was thou washed in water to cleanse thee. Thou wast not salted at all, nor do you salt babies? Nor swaddled at all. No eye pitied thee, to do any of these things unto thee, to have compassion upon thee, but thou wast cast out in the open field, for that thy person was abhorred in the day that thou wast born. And when I passed thee, I saw thee weltering in thy blood, said unto thee, Thou art in thy blood, live, yea, I cause thee to multiply as that which groweth in the field. And thou didst increase and wax great, and thou attainedst excellent ornament. Thy breasts were fashioned, and thy hair was grown.
Breasts?
Yet thou wast naked and bare.
Oh, you said breasts.
Yeah, I said.
You said something about fashion breasts, and Doug perked up.
You woke me right up.
So now when I passed thee and looked upon thee, behold, thy time was the time of love, and I spread my skirt over thee, and covered thy nakedness. Yea, I swear unto thee, and entered into a covenant with thee, and said, The Lord Jehovah, and thou becamest mine. Then washed I thee with water, cleaned off the blood, anointed with oil. I clothed thee with embroidered work, and shod thee with sealskin.
What about salting? Did he salt?
He didn't. It didn't say much about seasoning at this point.
I
in
need
life.
to be salted. I still haven't been salted.
Well, it's more of an assault, you'll see. But
okay.
And I girded thee above with fine linen, and covered thee with silk, and I decked thee with ornaments, and I put bracelets upon thy hands, and chain upon thy neck. I put a ring upon thy nose, and earrings in thine ears, and a beautiful crown upon thy head. Thus wast thou decked with gold and silver, and with thy raiment was of fine linen and silk and embroidered work. Thou didst eat fine flour and honey and oil. Okay, so basically, you were nobody, you were nothing, and then I bought you a bunch of shit.
Yeah.
And then we go down a little bit to verse 17.
So far, it's the plot of Pretty Woman.
Kind of, but remember, this is Israel.
Okay.
And thou didst take of thy garments, and madest for thee high places decked with diverse colors, and playedst the harlot upon them. The like things shall come, neither shall it be so. Thou didst also take thy fair jewels of my gold and my silver, which I had given thee, and madest for thee images of men, and didst play the harlot with them. So basically, this is fucking revolting, right? This is, I bought you all that nice shit, and I gave you every fucking thing, you bitch, and you betray me? I want to fucking kill you.
You
right?
fucking whore.
And God has several kind of characteristics in this book, but this is the most kind of bad Jersey dude ever, right? So
I love the idea of God being Joe Pesci from Goodfellas.
he's so like that in this book. So then there's the story of God's daughters who betrayed him, Ohola and Oholiba.
Whoa.
But since it's a fucking allegory, Ohola is Samaria. He can't just say Samaria did this and Jerusalem did this, right? It's got to be the whole fucking story about Ohola, which is Samaria, and Oholiba, that is Jerusalem, thus long proving my theory that much like Ludacris and Nate Dogg, God has hoes in different area codes. So anyway, they betray him with other regions.
We're whites, everybody. We're white people.
We are white people.
I'm transparent. I'm so white. Anyway, they betray him with other regions in some alarmingly graphic prose for a book that claims a G rating. You might remember this romantic moment in Ezekiel 23:20, when she played the whore in the land of Egypt and lusted after her paramours there, whose members were like those of donkeys and whose emission was like that of stallions.
Oh, my God.
Yep.
So, laughs aside, even as metaphor, the scorching hatred of women in this book made me feel sick.
That sounded like a description on Pornhub.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, on Farmers Only, I think. So the narrative is so drenched in this hateful poison. It's really disgusting.
Can you speak to what the actual sins of Jerusalem were?
Well, the same that they are throughout the entirety of the Old Testament, right?
Just turning away from God.
Right. We've always said the second God is out, they have no God permanence, right? The second he's out of frame,
Right.
They're banging on some new idol, right? They
Even if he's just off in the distance burning like a bush, they're like, yeah, but I've got all this gold and I'm really itching to make a cow.
Yeah, he literally shows himself bodily to them over and over again.
Right.
And they're like, cool trick, let's make a cow.
Which is really funny because he hasn't shown his goddamn face or even done a proper miracle for at least 2,000 years.
Yeah.
And people still love him just fine. So,
I don't know, man. I found my car keys the other day. It's quite a story.
Ooh, that is amazing. So Uncle Doug is now leaving the show and going to start his ministry.
Well, what do they say? Absence breeds affection, right? So maybe they just saw too much of him. So maybe now that he's playing a little harder to get, they actually want him back. I don't know. It's so stupid. So. More than anything else, I think that, like a lot of the books in the Old Testament, this book gives us an unfiltered look at the real character of the God of the Bible. He's the worst, most dangerous, most psychotic ex-boyfriend in history.
Right. Yes, indeed.
The most right-wing Christian judge in America would definitely issue a restraining order against this piece of shit. So,
and the second he's nice to you, be careful, because he's just going to turn around, yell at you, call you a whore, and smack you.
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly right. So, and I would just say, look, man, Israel is just not that into you. You've got to move on, right? When you chose a people, you chose poorly. So I just hate this book so much. So let's just rapid fire through the last few bits of it.
Okay.
And it's not just the Israelites that God hates with the heat of 1,000 geocentric suns, as we were mentioning earlier. He swears he will destroy Egypt to the last man forever, which is a boast that's made complicated by the fact that Egypt has several international airports to accommodate its multi-billion-dollar tourist industry, still going strong as of this recording. Then he just starts stabbing the whole map of the known world, swearing to kill all the Ethiopians, the Libyans, Arabia, Meshech. What did Meshech ever do? Tubal and some place called Put, in addition to the Israelites and the Egyptians. So that's super loving. And then we come to chapter 37, and I will try to blow through it, but here's some real magic, fellas. The hand of Jehovah was upon me, and he brought me out in the spirit of Jehovah, and set me down in the midst of the valley, and it was full of bones. And he caused me to pass by them round about, and behold, there were very many in the open valley, and lo, they were dry. And he said unto me, Son of man, can these bones live? And I answered, O Lord Jehovah, thou knowest. Again he said unto me, Prophesy over these bones, and say unto them, O ye dry bones, hear the word of Jehovah. Thus saith the Lord Jehovah unto these bones.
Oh, please.
Oh, yeah, baby. Behold, I will cause breath to enter into you, and ye shall live, and I will lay sinews upon you, and will bring flesh up upon you, and cover you with skin, and put breath in you, and ye shall live, and ye shall know that I am Jehovah. So I prophesied.
And behold, I did look upon myself, and becameth the Night King, and did raise up my own hands.
Exactly. And so I prophesied as I was commanded, and as I prophesied, there was a noise. And behold, an earthquake, and the bones came together, bone to its bone. And I beheld, and lo, there were sinews upon them, and flesh came upon them, and skin covered them above, but there was no breath in them. Then he said unto me, Prophesy unto the wind, prophesy, son of man, and say to the wind, Thus said the Lord Jehovah, Come from the four winds, O breath, and breathe upon these slain, that they may live. So I prophesied as he commanded, and the breath came into them, and they lived and stood up upon their feet. Okay, I'm going to skip the rest. That's right.
I
Tap danced.
am into this.
Yes.
This is awesome.
I'm pretty sure, Mark, that you worked on this movie.
You got me, Ezekiel. So that's right, bitches. Zombies.
Awesome.
Motherfucking zombies. God is so powerful, he can put dead, scattered bones back together and give them a shiny new pulsing meat sheaf. He's so absolutely, he can do anything except make a compelling enough case to convince a small desert tribe to remain loyal to him for more than an hour at a time. So that's weird. Okay, nearly there. Chapter 40, there's a jarring shift from allegorical death threats and misogyny to an excruciatingly detailed description of the measurements of a building. Just 99 verses in total.
Oh, my God.
Holy shit.
First-person God of the Bible had nary a negative word to say about slavery, but goes on for 99 prissy fucking chapters about the house he wants in Jerusalem, including how far apart he wants to plant the fucking palm trees. Right?
That's fair. You know what?
yeah.
If you don't specify, then you don't know what your landscape architect's going to do.
That's right.
They might just do anything.
I agree.
And a lot of times the guy you talk to subcontracts to some other guy.
Right,
He doesn't even know
exactly.
what's up. Right?
Oh,
you can't get good help.
You got to watch these people like a hawk.
So after that brief 99 verses, then there's another wild transition to how and what to sacrifice when, because that's something the Bible needs more of, and who will wear what and enter from where, as so to honor him. It's God as a fussy stage manager for a very brief 113 verses. Then there's some more measuring, then a mere 58 verses of God drawing a little map and laying out a city, coming at last to a truly thunderous ending to this monumental work of prophecy and death threats. And I quote, "The circumference of the city shall be 18,000 cubits, and the name of the city from that time shall be, The Lord is there." Way to nail the dismount, Ezekiel. And that's Ezekiel. So to conclude, a quick coda of all this contemptible blather. As I like to say about the Bible, and it's jerking from mind-numbing detail to vacuous vagary, if a thing can mean anything, it really means nothing, right?
Yeah.
So remember the whole fever dream about the wheels? Basically, biblically inclined kooks have long taken that wheel not to represent the wheels of God's chariot, as the Bible kind of tries to explain it is, but the chariots of the gods. That's right. According to ideas first published in Eric Van Daniken's 1968 book, Chariots of the Gods, what poor Ezekiel saw was E.T. hovering overhead.
Yes.
So we'll dive into the Chariots of the Gods another time, but the ancient astronaut conspiracy has some major traction in crazy land. And not so crazy land, as evidenced by a book written by Joseph Blumrick in 1974 called The Spaceships of Ezekiel, in which he actually proposes engineered blueprints of possible spacecraft based on that very clear vision Ezekiel had. And this ridiculous moonbat happened to write this book while he was the chief of NASA's system layout branch of the Program Development Office at the Marshall Space Flight Center.
Jesus Christ.
So his tinfoil hat was made by a top-secret billion-dollar federal program.
Tinfoil hat was made of titanium.
Right.
And the last weird thing about this is the song that I remember. I did find it. It's called Ezekiel Saw the Wheel. And it's a weird, peppy gospel song that makes as much sense as the book it takes its name from. There are several versions, including one by Johnny Cash, if you can believe it. But the Louis Armstrong one adds a lot of extra detail that make the book seem even weirder. And we can't play it because of the laws of man, but I'll put a link to it in the show notes, and you can enjoy it if you want. So that's it for Ezekiel, boys. I want everybody to know that I so love our listeners, I gave my only begotten Saturday for this trash. So don't read it. For fuck's sake, don't make your kids read it. Do something useful instead, like drill a hole in your head.
You know, it seems like the prophecies of the Bible, like the movies of the MCU, all have like similar themes, right? There's things that keep recurring and coming back. Ridiculous measurements, specific
Lots of sacrifice rules.
Yeah. Recipes for food we would never eat. So yeah, it's good to know it rhymes.
And God is Thanos, but without the actual kind of idea that he's saving the universe by killing half of it. He's just pissed off and wants to kill everybody.
And without the actual like stick-to-itiveness to actually snap his fingers when he says he's going to.
Right.
He just makes he uses his prophets to yell at his chosen people for him. It's
right. He's mostly a whiner, is what he is.
Yeah, he's just a prissy fucker. So
all right,
I don't like him. Let's be done with it.
Let's move on.
Well, friends, that's it for this week's show.
Hey, if you've grown your beard out to play a sport, send us an email, howto@howtoheretic.com.
Or if you have any honey-flavored scroll recipes, you can share those with us at 903-88-HOW-TO, which is 903-884-6986. I'm also on Twitter at HowToHeretic.
Yeah, hey, thanks so much once more to our patrons.
And thanks so much to Cody Layton for editing our show.
And thank all of you guys for tuning in.
Bye, friends.
Auf Wiedersehen.